So if you've tried getting in shape multiple times before, but for some reason you just can't seem to get yourself to stick to a plan for longer than a week or two, this video is going to show you how to take action today and actually stick to your plan long enough so you start seeing some results. So first things first, we need to talk about why you can't stick to your plan and why you fall off so very early. So let me describe a situation for you and then you see if you can relate to this. So you go to bed one night and you just struggle to fall asleep and your mind starts to wander, right? And you think, you know what? I'm tired of being out of shape. I'm tired of looking like this. I want to change how I look. So tomorrow, I'm not going to wait anymore. Tomorrow, I'm taking action. I'm going to start working out 2 hours a week. I'm going to get on this intense diet. I can do this. I am that guy. And then within 2 or 3 weeks, I'm going to look completely different. I'm going to have a six pack and I'm just going to be jacked in general. This is going to be amazing. And then you go to bed and then you wake up and then you realize, oh shit, I actually need to stick to this right now. Does that sound like something you've done in the past? Because I know I did this many times in the past and I still do this sometimes. Like I still overpromise to myself sometimes. But the problem is when you do this, you're making decisions based off of your emotions and your frail motivation. And then that next morning, when you don't have the same amount of motivation and the same emotions, even, it seems impossible to actually stick to this decision. And to be honest, like for most of you, if you set this insanely big goal for yourself and you decide you're going to follow this insanely strict routine, it probably comes pretty close to impossible because basically you're like a second grader who just learned how to add and subtract, who's like, okay, I'm confident now. I have a bunch of motivation. I'm going to do this. I want to become a mathematician. So give me some algebra. And then when you try to do algebra, you get so overwhelmed because you just learned how to add and subtract. And now you need to, like, I'm not good at algebra, so I'm not going to try and explain what you need to do in algebra. But the point is, like, you just learned how to add and subtract, and now you want to jump from step 1 to step 10. That is why most of you can't stick to your plan. You don't start at step 1 and then go to step 2 and then step 3 and then step 4. Most of you are at step 0 or step 1 and then you try to jump to step 5, 6, 7, or 8. So by doing this, you don't just fail your goals, but you also completely shatter your belief in yourself, especially if you do this over and over and over again. Because I know for most of you guys, and I know this happened with me, like I did this multiple times before realizing that I can't start off at level 10. You do this multiple times. You do this, you go for a week or two, then you completely break down because you just can't maintain this. And then you take off, you spiral even further down for the next 2 or 3 months. And then you get new motivation because you're even in a worse situation than you were before. And then you try again, but you do the same thing because you're so desperate to get out of your situation as fast as possible. So you're like, I don't want to wait. I want to get in shape as soon as possible. So, and in that moment, you feel like you can take on the world, which you can't, unfortunately, but you feel like you can. And then you make this massive promise to yourself, and then you can't stick to that. And then every single time you break that promise to yourself, you break your confidence and you make it even harder for yourself to stick to things like this and to believe in yourself, because in the back of your head, you constantly tell yourself you failed like 5 times before. Why do you think you're going to make it this time? And that makes it harder and harder and harder to make progress because you kind of go into most of the things that you want to do with the belief in the back of your head that you're going to fail anyway. So let's talk about how to fix this and how you can take action today and actually stick to the plan in the long term. So first thing we need to do is we need to get you to actually start believing in yourself a bit more again. Because chances are that you have probably failed multiple times in the past. Not every one of you. Maybe this is like your first time trying something like this, and that's great. Still follow what I'm going to say in this video because that prevents you from failing the first time. But we need to get you to believe in yourself more. So first thing you're going to do is forget about the 2-hour workout and the intense diet and all the other things that you usually tell yourself you're going to do. All you're going to do is you're going to pick 2 habits, small habits that are easy to stick to, that you're going to stick to for the next week religiously. Okay? Just so you know, these 2 habits are not going to get you to your goal. They're not going to get you to your goal on their own. The point of this exercise is to prove to yourself that you're first off an action taker because you're going to take action on these today. And secondly, that you can actually stick to something. right? So two simple habits that are actually in alignment with your goal as well. Like you're trying to get in shape. So don't pick something like read a business book every day. What I mean is pick something like, let's say, go on a 10-minute walk if you don't usually go on a 10-minute walk each day, and then skip one snack after dinner. Like, let's say you eat a block of chocolate each night after dinner, skip that block of chocolate. So, two small things that you can actually do that's not going to take you longer than like 10 or maybe 15 minutes. And then you really need to stick to those two habits for the next week. So you prove to yourself that you can actually stick to something. And I know it sounds a bit stupid right now, but trust me, after this week, even if you take action on those two habits today, you're going to feel so good about yourself. And by day 7, you're going to have this feeling inside of you. It's not going to be massive, but you're going to have this feeling inside of you like, I can actually stick to something. And I'm actually doing something right now that I can maintain in the future, right? So you're going to do those two things for the first week. And if you fail to stick to them, you're not going to add another habit to your life after the week. You're going to go for at least 7 days. I would say go for 7 to 14 days doing these two habits, depending on how big they are. And once you actually got yourself to be consistent with those two habits for 7 or 9 or 10 days, then you can add another habit or two, or you can change those two habits into two habits that are a bit harder. So let's say instead of going only on a 10-minute walk, you go for a 30-minute gym session. Or instead of just skipping like one block of chocolate, you change one of your meals into a healthier meal instead of getting takeout. Now, as I just said, I know this may sound a bit stupid or far-fetched, but trust me, this is going to get you way better results than trying to jump on this intense plan from day one. Because what you're doing is you're going from step 1 to step 2. And then the point of this is to improve, because you can't stick to a 10-minute walk each day and eating one less block of chocolate each night and think that you're going to get in great shape. That's not going to happen. But the point of this is kind of just to prove to yourself again that you are someone who can take action immediately, and actually you're someone who can stick to something. And then after, as I said, after week 1 you make it a bit harder, and then after week 2 you make it a bit harder, and after week 3 you keep on going like this over and over and over again. It's super important that you improve on those habits once they're more comfortable for you, and then eventually you'll actually build a lifestyle for yourself that's, I don't want to say automatically, because nothing good happens automatically, but over time, you're really going to start developing a lifestyle for yourself that pushes you towards your goals instead of you having to consciously work so hard towards your goals, if that makes sense. Take me, for example. My lifestyle is eating healthy, working out regularly. Yes, I still have to take myself to the gym. Yes, I still have to buy the healthy food, but it's not like I wake up every morning and I'm like, oh, wait, okay, I need to find a way to go to the gym today, and I need to force myself to eat healthy. It's just part of who I am right now. Yes, I still need to consciously think about doing certain things, but it's way more on autopilot because over the years I've developed these habits that just happen. It's normal for me to go to the gym. I don't go every single day, but you get what I mean. It's normal for me to go to the gym every day and eat healthy meals every single day, or at least more than I eat unhealthy meals. And that's where we want to get you as well. Yes, you don't have to take it to the same level as me, but if you can just slowly build yourself up to a point where your lifestyle corresponds to the goal that you want, then you're kind of going to have your goals or your physique on autopilot. Once again, it doesn't happen by itself, but if you build a lifestyle that's in alignment with the goals that you want, you're going to get the goals. It's all about the standards that you set for yourself. If your standards are eating McDonald's and Domino's 10 times a week, then you're going to get the results that's in alignment with that. Where if your standards are eating mostly healthy meals and hitting the gym 2 or 3 or maybe 4 times a week, you're going to get results that correlate to that. So to summarize, do not get on this intense plan right now. You're at step 1. You want to go to step 2, then step 3, then step 4. So pick two habits that are in alignment with where you want to go. I would say something like a 10-minute walk or 20 push-ups, whatever, and then eating one less unhealthy snack or something in that line. And then you stick to that every single day. That is super important that you don't fail on this Rather make it too easy than too hard and then fail, because then you're kind of going to prove to yourself once again that you can't stick to something. Rather make it too easy and actually stick to it. And then once you stick to those habits for like a week, maybe even 2 weeks, if it was pretty hard for you to stick to it, then you can make it a bit harder, or you can add more habits. Now, obviously, it's a very long topic to talk about how your life should actually look like if you want to get in a specific shape. But I have other videos on that. For now, just focus on adding healthy habits to your lifestyle that pushes you towards where you want to go. Please, if you have any questions, let me know. I'm more than happy to help. Drop them in the comments. I'll get to those comments and reply as soon as possible. I hope this video helped. Please leave a like if it helped you guys, and I'll see you in the next one.